Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Today I'm going to be reviewing David A Hargrave's Volume 4 of the Arduin original books. This is the last grimoire. But before I get to that, a little special announcement. Today is one of our good friends' birthday. Dave in Virginia. You guys also know him as Grim on our comment section of all our videos. Today's his birthday. We want to wish him a very special happy birthday. He's a really good guy, and we just love him and his family. And we would like you all to wish him a happy birthday in the comment section, if you're so inclined. I'd appreciate it. And we're also going to hope you guys all have a great weekend, and hopefully you guys will, after this show, come and join us over at 10 Cars Tavern tonight, roughly 5 o'clock avocado time. And let's get on with the review. One more thing. A special thank you again to George over at Emperor's Choice, who sent us this volume, along with the entire library of Arduin books. I want to thank him again, and I want you all to see the map. We finally got it mounted on our wall, the larger Arduin map. I need to find another picture frame, and as you can see, it looks awesome. It's right above my Arduin books and a few other books, obviously. And some of the Arduin books are downstairs because I'm still reading them. I can't, every time I look at the books, I want to pick up a different book and read, so I'm kind of a little scatterbrained when it comes to that. So let's get on with the book review. I'm going to be doing all of the books. A couple of them I'm going to do, in one video, but right now I just want to get through the original 9 books. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the table of contents with you. I just read this book last week, a couple of books last week, the old version. But these are all now nicely reprinted, better covers, better printing, better everything. I don't know if the artwork has changed or if there's new artwork in it. I'd have to go page by page. But the old Dragon Tree Press books, they were great for the time. But, that was a long time ago, and, all our standards are, let's just say higher. We've come to expect more from our game books than the old digest style of books from Dungeons and Dragons back in the 70s. And, that was, going on close to 50 years ago. So the first thing in the table of contents is the integration of Arduin rules and other role-playing systems, then the why of it all, player adaptability. All those are, basically, tips from the mind of David A. Hargrave. Some of them may be a little outdated, or you may have already heard this same information elsewhere. But, anything Dave wrote, I want to read, so I read the whole book cover to cover. And then it goes on to special magic and magicians, which are different, basically kind of like the old schools of magic from 2nd edition. And then the ecology of monster creation, more ideas, and logic behind, your monsters, why they're there, where they came from, that sort of thing. All good stuff. Then dungeons, caverns, and other holes in the ground. One of my favorite chapters in this book. Again, logic behind your dungeons. My dungeons actually tend to be rather small because I always, took the word literally, where for me a dungeon was literally a place in the ground where people imprisoned other people, let's say. So, the sort of Gygaxian maze of millions of rooms and things like that weren't always, my cup of tea. I would make the dungeons, sometimes they'd only be one large room with a bunch of cells. That was the dungeon. But, what's in the cells, what's in the room, who's keeping the prisoners. And other times, I would go all out and, make a Caliban or Gygaxian style dungeon with, hundreds of rooms and different levels and traps and tricks and all that stuff. Advanced Magical Fumble Chart, Random Magical Matrix. I've never really used fumbles or crits in my games unless it was honestly the Palladium role playing game. Sometimes crits were a thing, but that usually just amounted to nothing more than double damage. Fumbles, I was never a fan of that because it literally meant 1 in 20 times you attacked, you would fail miserably. And the reverse was also true. I didn't think, 1 in 20 attacks would always be criticals. More often than not, the damage alone would be enough to kill the monster. But I was always fond of called shots, which, was, the player's ability to try to force a crit by aiming for a specific location with, a healthy negative modifier. If they made the roll, they got the crit. Arduinian weaponry and other treasures. Arduin has some specialized weapons, as do any good role playing game worlds. I'm famous for about a half a dozen unique style of weapons that to this day I've still not seen. So one of these days, if you get to be in one of my online games or in person, you get to experience those. But for the meantime, I'm keeping those, hush hush because I don't want someone swiping my ideas. New character races. I actually forget what new races there are, but there are so many races to begin with in Arduin. I think there's more than 30 different player character races, and none of them were Dragonborn or Tieflings or any of the newfangled, third edition and up character races, which is great because, if you want those, then add them. But I'm real fond of the Deodinths, the Franks, and the Sarigs, and a few other races from Arduin that never saw the light of day outside of Arduin gaming. I'm real fond of the fact that while there was the three Kreen, I think that's how you pronounce it from TSR, as a insectoid race. I don't recall there being any actual playable insect races, and as you guys know, my son is a huge fan of the Franks. Then on to the lotions and other magical alchemical concoctions from Arduin. Dave really went out of the way to create a lot of different alchemical concoctions, potions, powders, lotions, all those things, and even some like gumball like landmine things that were a chemical reaction. If you step on them, they're kind of like marbles that explode, but they were made out of chemicals, which I absolutely love those ideas. And all of his his alchemical creations that weren't your standard bill of fare of potions were just a whole lot of fun. Wizardly spells, conjuration, etc., priestly magic. More info on his school of magic at the time. As the Arduin world progressed, magic took on various rule changes, and this is just one section of some of those rules. New monsters. Of the things David was famous for, David Hargrave, sorry, not Grimm, not you, Grimm. Although this may, apply to you, Grimm, but David Hargrave was really famous for his monsters, possibly more than anything else. I think his monsters were some of the most ingenious and original monsters, and this has got a nice small section of more monsters, which later on get compiled into one big book of monsters that I'm currently reading, and I'll get to that probably next month. Legendary potables, I think those are drinks and liquids and things like that. There's also a huge section in here right after that, bill of fare for Dirty Dorgs, which is a tavern that has, the full menu is all written up of all kinds of fancy dishes made from, sometimes creepy ingredients, but it was a lot of fun reading that. Maybe even my favorite chapter in this book, because it really, you know, it's so much more fun than the standard, leg of lamb, cheese and bread and wine at your local tavern. Just all kinds of just you know unique dishes. From the peasant level all the way up to a 7-course meal. What you could expect. What were the delicacies and all kinds of just crazy things that you would never eat in the real world, but having your characters order some of these dishes is just a lot of fun, and it's really nice because it allows or should inspire the dungeon master to do the same, to come up with all kinds of crazy dishes and specialties and foodstuffs that particular restaurant is famous for. That way, you can remember the tavern or the inn by the foods, not just the brawls that you get into, which I know are really cliche, and I kind of stopped doing them for most of my role playing games, just because it inevitably just leads to a night in the pokey for the player characters, and probably a hefty fine, and of course some magic item or trinket not being returned to the players, which if you've ever had run-ins like that, something always comes up missing when you get your stuff back, and that's just the way it is, the way it really should be, because you got arrested, don't do the crime if you can't do the time, sort of thing. Then ruses, traps, and other dirty tricks. Again, famous for that. He had some of the most elaborate tricks and traps and nasty surprises, and illusionary walls, which I think one of the upcoming books has a huge chapter on all the different kind of illusionary walls and prismatic walls. But we'll hit that road probably next week or the week after. Laughs, and other game master quirks. Just more advice to the aspiring dungeon master. Make the world your own, and make it memorable, make it unique, and just have fun with it. And then holidays and festivals in Arduin. Another thing I really liked, because I can't count how many different science fiction or fantasy stories or TV shows or movies that there was invariably some holiday or festival or something like that going on that allowed the party to get away with their mischief or their thievery or what have you, and just lays a backdrop for the games. Excuses for people to be out in the streets partying, honk honk, by the way, and things like that. Just to liven up your worlds, allowing for create your own holidays, come up with reasons why they exist, why the people are out in the streets, why maybe the people are all shuttered inside, because of a particular holiday or festival or religious observance. Just more flavor for your world, so that it will give your player characters a reason to go back to a certain town on a certain day or week or month, because they don't want to miss the festival of such and such. And then of course a nice chunk of spells and monsters in here to round out the book. What Arduin book would be complete without more monsters, more spells, more treasure. And then finally, there's a preview of the World of Cause, which is that gigantic phone book of information that I got last week, that is really nothing but flavor and descriptions and local happenings and histories and things like that I can't wait to get to. It's probably going to be a while before I do a review on that, because I don't want to just hit the first 100 pages and do a review on it. It's an 800-page tome of wonder and awe that is Arduin. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I hope you guys will pick up your old copy of The Lost Grimoire, or pick up another one from Emperor's Choice, so you can retire your old copies, which I am so grateful to be able to do. When I was reading this last week, I really wanted to get rubber gloves and the whole bit, just to make sure that I didn't mess up the book, and I had to be really careful. And these are really sturdy. These are going to last a good long time, well into the future, well after our original Arduin books have turned to dust. These will still be around because of the quality printing and process that was put into these books. So with all that said and done, hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope to see you guys over at 10 Cars later on this evening. And I hope you guys have a great weekend. Love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.